folks, Chris with Christcross Crafts coming at you. Last summer when I got my table saw out of storage for, I don't know, 8 years, I noticed that the splitter and the guard was missing. I don't know who's been roaming around my grandpa's barn stealing splitters and guards, but nonetheless, I've been using it without it, but I'm not a fan of that. If I'm cutting narrow pieces, I really like that protection that the splitter is going to give me, making sure that it's keeping that wood from crimping in on itself. So anyway, watch the rest of the video and you will find out exactly what I upgraded it with and how I did it. So enjoy. So in an attempt to replace the old splitter, I took apart the old assembly that held it on and was going to mount the new drop down splitter in its place. But what I noticed was the screws that came with it are shorter and more larger diameter than the factory screws. So these quarter 20s, I still need to be able to use these quarter 20s, but needed something like that. So what I did, went by the local hardware store, picked me up a couple of button head screws that are quarter 20, got a lock washer and a flat washer on there, and I should have no problems now mounting this to the saw. So let's mount it and see what happens. So the instructions say use a straight edge right off the flange and line this outside edge of this with the inside edge of that. The problem is that would actually push this off on my saw. I actually mounted a blade on there to confirm it. So what I actually need to do is run a straight edge off of the arbor flange, and it needs to line up just with the outside edge on this side of the splitter. So by doing that, I'm able to achieve dead on center of the kerf. So lining that up that way, and I also confirmed it by throwing a blade on there before I fully tightened it. So putting the blade on, confirming it, having it snug, I've got it exactly where I need it to be. So I have my splitter in place, and what you'll notice is this does have these various length paws to help prevent kickback. So that anti-kickback is really what I was looking for, because I'm cutting a lot of narrow pieces, and it most people take their guards off, but I like to keep my fingers, and I certainly don't want to get stabbed in the gut with a spear. So anyway, these anti-kickback paws will really help when I don't need this. This actually drops right down below the surface of the table, but when I do need it, I lift it right up just like that, slide my insert in, and should be safe to go. It's perfectly lined up with this side of the blade, which is where my main housing is, and it does have a little bit of space here, but if I'm using a thin kerf blade, that actually will be a benefit, but it's perfectly snug along this edge. So let's see what we got, and we'll go from there. Well, clean cut, perfect spacing, anti-kickbacks held it down. The conversion to the single drop-down splitter is complete. All right, well there you go. The Delta splitter model of 34-868 installed. No issues other than the screws that came with it. Amazon did list my saw on the description as one that it would fit. but my saw took the 1/4 20 screws. This one had the 5/16 screws. So anyway, nothing but a trip to the hardware store. Definitely worth the $1.70 in 2 screws and some washers to get this thing up and running. In case you're curious, my base model saw on this is the 36-451. Delta packaged a bunch of saw packages together, but most of them were using the same base unit. So depending on your fence package and all that good stuff, but the 36-451 is the actual base saw for mine. So if you look to the left of your stand, you can figure out what yours is. So if you need to install a splitter, this is definitely an upgrade from the original. I'm probably going to go get me another insert to put in here, and then I will saw out a notch that's larger, so this can actually go down in there a little better without me having to take the insert out. But that's down the line. Nonetheless, here we go. We're up and running. Hope this helps. If you got any questions, message me. This is Chris with Christcross Crafts, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.